It's the one and only weather for Weather Geeks here in the middle of March. It feels more like the middle of February once again. We're going to talk about where we've been and where we're heading over the next several days and into the longer range as well. I've got a few new thoughts on the longer range, including the month of April, because I think March is pretty much a lost cause at this point. It's been a cold month and it's going to stay pretty chilly, it looks like, through the end of the month, at least compared to the averages. Now, you know, a chilly day in March is a lot different than a chilly day in January. You know, when we're 20 degrees or 15 degrees below average in January, that means highs are in the teens. This time of the year, averages are in the mid-40s, so a minus 15 kind of a day today puts our high around 30. Our forecast was 31 today. So we were on the mark there as far as the 2-degree guarantee goes. I show this every now and then. I keep thorough records on our accuracy. We strive to be within 2 degrees on the forecast high temperatures for the current time period, and we're up to 5 in a row, and 2018 accuracy at 72%. We've had some tough forecasts in this pattern, certainly, since we had the extreme warmth at the end of February, and then we flipped the page and had some unusual cold in March. And when we have extremes, the forecast tends to be a little bit tougher. All right, someone asked me on Twitter today, hey, when was the last time that we had a March that was colder than February? And if you're a regular viewer of this video, I've been talking about this several times. It was just last year. Last year it was 2 degrees colder in March than it was in February. When we talk about average temperatures, that's a combination of the highs and the lows. Now, so far, almost halfway through March, we're 5 degrees behind February's pace. Now, of course, there's a lot of March left, and surely this number will start to bob up some. But we do have a chance of making it 2 years in a row where March ends up being colder than February. All right, 12-hour radar loop today shows the scattered flurries we had, really pretty innocuous in most spots. Some candy coatings here and there. That was about it. The flurries really didn't amount to much at all across our region today. When we zoom out and take a look at the nation as a whole, pretty quiet night except for the west. Seeing a lot of rain and mountain snow from the Rockies on towards the west coast, including as far south as the Los Angeles area. Still dealing with the aftermath of the blizzard in the northeast with some backlash flurries and snow showers and some lake enhancement off of Lake Ontario still ongoing up in New England. You know, the growing season has begun down in the south, and it's going to be a cold night coming up tonight, so freeze warnings are out for parts of the deep south. Our colleague Leslie Barrett is vacationing in Florida, and she's far enough north that some cold nights are certainly likely over the next couple of nights, with days by Florida standards that are a little bit on the cool side, but I think we're all still jealous of her vacation down in the Sunshine State when we're shivering up here with 30-degree highs. Let's take a look at the jet stream over the next several days. Now, right as we speak, a very amplified jet. Big loops in the jet stream here, and the reason it's so chilly right now, one of the reasons, we have a big upper low parked over the northeast. That was partly responsible for the blizzard. Now, as we go through time here and head into the weekend, the flow is going to flatten out some, and that will allow a little bit of a bulge in the jet stream to head our way, and that will allow temperatures to finally get above average, especially by Sunday. I think Sunday's going to be a beautiful day. Upper 40s to around 50, and lots of sunshine. Take advantage of that if you can, because next week, here we go again, with another upper low kind of meandering across the northern tier of states. That's going to keep us on the chilly side, while the warmth is reserved for areas off to the south. And yeah, it looks to stay that way for at least a handful of days. You know, I've been talking about this ad nauseum in this video. Not much warmth coming in the longer range. I'll have more on that in just a second. As far as our sensible weather over the next couple of days, a couple of flurries around tomorrow morning. Might see a more substantial uptick in the snow shower activity as we head towards the end of the day tomorrow into tomorrow evening. Some localized small accumulations could result, especially after dark tomorrow evening. Flurries should shut down Friday morning. Now, some of the modeling has been interesting today, showing moisture trying to sneak into our area Saturday. A little sneaky system here. The latest run of our in-house model, which I'm showing you here, and I think it generally has the right idea, brings the moisture about as far north as I-70. We may get some fair weather clouds from this, but I doubt we see any precipitation from this. It just won't be perfectly sunny. For your St. Patrick's Day, it'll be partly sunny, still not a bad day, pretty close to average, or maybe just a little below average on Saturday. All right, here's the 6 to 10 day outlook from the long-range folks at the National Weather Service, and I like their forecast here. Good chances of below average temperatures in the 6 to 10 day, and then the 8 to 14 day. The beat goes on. You know, we're going to get some days where it's going to be warmer than today, certainly. We're not going to have it, you know, every day is not going to be 30 degrees. But, you know, high temperatures generally more often than not, below average seems to be likely through the end of the month. Well, what about April? Well, I have low confidence in any long-range forecast for the next month when we're not even halfway through the current month, but I thought we would just take a look at it this evening. And what I did was, I'm not looking at modeling right off the bat here, I'm looking at analogs. If you're familiar with this idea, we do this when it comes to seasonal forecasts. We look at the atmospheric and oceanic conditions across parts of the northern hemisphere right now and compare them to years past, and we see what happened in those years. What I'm showing you here is April of 1965, which had a pretty similar setup in the atmosphere and with ocean water temperatures across the Pacific Ocean as compared to this year. Now, we had a moderate La Nina this past winter. We're coming out of that. We're heading up to neutral conditions. And back in early spring of 1965, kind of a similar idea. Coming out of the moderate La Nina phase, heading towards neutral. The QBO, I talked about that a few months ago with the winter forecast. I won't get into it tonight, but it was similar to what we have now. And April of 1965 was chilly across the northern tier states. It was pretty warm, if not hot, down across the plain states. Another similar year was 1968, April of 1968, and a different looking map here. Cold in the west, mild in the deep south, and actually a little mild in the northern tier and kind of ho-hum around here. So two different years with a similar setup to this year and two different results. You don't see any, out of this, you don't see any big warm anomalies over our region. You know, it's the 2 years, one was cold or chilly, the other was pretty close to average. You don't see a lot of evidence of warmth in those 2 years, at least compared to average. And just for fun, here's a look at the latest several runs of the climate forecast system model for the month of April, showing kind of a map that's similar to that first year I showed you, 1965, with the warmth compared to average down south, the cool anomalies in the northern tier of states. This, even though I don't trust it that much, this gives a little more credence to that April of 1965 idea that April might be another chillier than average month, sort of like March. Again, that's not my forecast. I'm not putting out a forecast this early, but just some early thoughts on what April might bring. A lot of people are getting impatient, including me, with the chilly weather we have here in March, and you know, we're kind of writing off March this year, and a lot of people are wondering, hey, are we going to turn it around in April? We're of course going to turn it around at some point. Spring will come, but it's just a matter of when will it finally click in. And right now it might be you know, a little while longer before we start to see some true signs of spring in the sensible weather. Thanks for watching tonight's Weather for Weather Geeks. I'll see you back here tomorrow, and have a great Wednesday night.